Absolutely. I mean, modern companies have actually weaponized spoiler culture. Like, you know how everyone complains about video game pre-orders because you're just giving a company your money without actually knowing if the game's going to be good? Modern media production has produced a similar effect with spoiler culture. They have nurtured the fear that people have about being spoiled so that the only correct way in some people's mind to experience a piece of media is to go in completely blind. Which means you have to experience that media without knowing if it's good or bad. And that, say it with me now, ensures sales. Whether it's tickets at the box office or eyes watching ads on a TV program, it's the same deal. And in some really bad circumstances, they even use it to silence people's voices. Like when Endgame came out, a bunch of critics got to see it before everyone else. And a certain amount of critics ended up writing reviews that were very spoiler light, but were in general positive. But there were also some critics that were very spoiler heavy that were more negative, going more in depth on the failings of the movie. And these critics were basically targeted by Marvel fans. Their lives were made living hell because they dared to spoil the movie before it came out. But that's the thing. Negative reviews, critical reviews, usually require a certain amount of spoilers. And if you don't allow yourself to get spoiled, you are basically isolating yourself from any negative reviews. That's exactly what production companies want, and that's exactly what the fan base is doing for them. The fan base is now kind of their private spoiler army. But what's really interesting about this is that spoilers are a relatively new concept. The term was only first used in 1971, and they didn't really become known as inherently bad until like the late 90s. It just wasn't that weird to have things spoiled for you before then. No one thought that it actually ruined the experience. And there have been psychological studies done on the effect of spoilers, and while most people think that spoilers will ruin an experience, in actuality, when people were put into a situation where a piece of media was spoiled for them, usually they end up rating their experience with that media more positively. They think it's more negative, but when it's by the numbers, when they say rate it 0 through 10, and they do this over and over again, the spoiled media is rated higher. So that's why I personally don't care about spoilers. But still, rule number 1 is don't be a dick, so I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody. But I do think that this means that a lot of discourse about certain pieces of media are shut down before they can start. And I do think discourse and analysis and plain old discussing things with your friends is better than preserving surprise. Because I think people and culture are more important than a piece of media remaining pure. PBS Idea Channel did a magnificent episode on this. I suggest you look it up. Pals Before Portents.